my name's Miriam Perry. Welcome along to this short presentation, which will be about 15 minutes. I'm going to just talk to you about the certificate in leadership capability that I've recently taken part in. More specifically, the Being Effective at Work module. So this presentation serves as a reflection really of how I've developed as a leader over the last year or so. A lot of it will be relying on some feedback that I've received both at the beginning of the course and later on, quite recently, 360-degree feedback. Basically, the feedback was given both by myself, answering some questions, and then the same questions were given to 3 other raters, a student, a line manager, and also a more senior manager as well, to try and get a feel of how I've been progressing over these past months. It'll also serve to give an idea of any future work that I can do to further develop my leadership skills, and also just summarise really the development and the duration of the course. So, a lot of information on this slide, but what we can see is a personal development plan that I created at the beginning of the course. First thing to note really is the target date that I set for some various objectives. Most of them really, the target dates are around this time at the end of the course. So I guess the first thing to pick up from evaluating perhaps my development throughout the course is that my planning, although I was able to plan perhaps 12 months in advance, this perhaps reveals that my vision was quite short, so short-term planning, but not so much the medium and long-term. So an important note to make about the plan that I made. So this is a quick graph, a diagram of how the feedback is presented, and also my development through the programme. So in green was the feedback that I received at the Development Centre on selection for this course, and the levels 0 to 1, 1, 2, 3 and 4, sorry. So 1 being the lowest basic capabilities, and 4 being the more advanced. So as you can see, at the beginning of the course in green, I was around the sort of 2.5 mark, and in pink that shows the most recent feedback that I've been given from the 360-degree appraisal. As you can see, an improvement in all 6 fields, which include vision, understanding, managing context, delivery, emotional intelligence, relationship building, and team and people development. The ones that are the highest, sort of between 3 and 4, are the delivery and emotional intelligence side of things. And as you can see, particularly with emotional intelligence, that was one of the slightly higher ones at the beginning of the course as well. But really pleased to see an all-round improvement through applying myself throughout this development opportunity. So now we're just going to look in a bit greater detail at those 6 capabilities, one by one. So vision, first of all. I think I'm guilty amongst others of walking in my own world, perhaps, being a bit blinkered to the bigger picture. So it was identified at the beginning of the course that I needed to perhaps adopt a greater understanding of the trust and its stakeholders in order to develop further. So in order to address that, done various different things. I've networked at an organisational development conference, which exposed me to a much higher level of development than I've been exposed to before. Also, the more sort of covert things that perhaps people don't notice is that my subscription to various different Department of Health papers, clinical websites, in order to keep abreast of current climate, both regionally and on a national side of things. And of course, going with that is the horizon scanning, and plenty of self-directed study and literature research, which obviously has enabled me to complete the assignments for the various modules throughout the course. Understanding and managing context, it links in quite nicely with vision. It was identified again that exposure to different higher level environments would help to improve my skills in this area. So again, the OD conference that I attended, in raising my own awareness, perhaps passing on that knowledge, that insight to my peers, my team, and also students as well, so that they can look at things perhaps from a different perspective than they have done before, and passing on that learning. One of the most important things that, in my opinion, I've done in this field is my work around clinical performance indicators. Within the clinical supervision shifts or facilitated shifts with peers, I've aimed to pass on knowledge about why we do them, clinically focused, so that people are more motivated to adhere to those standards that we've set down that are comparable to all other ambulance services, in the hope that we can then be more compliant and provide a better service for our patients. The Clinical 2 newsletter, the CTM newsletter, is also something that's quite in its infancy at the moment, but whilst I was quite heavily involved in that and produced the first newsletter, which aims to provide clinical information to all clinicians within the whole trust, which was distributed widely via the weekly briefing and online. So delivery-wise, big part of this is communication, and that was identified perhaps with the listening side of things, which we can all learn from, and empowering others. So promoting team values, obviously very important, builds morale, team spirit. I've completed a neuro-linguistic programming course as well, which covers all various different types of communication, including listening, but also the verbal communication, non-verbal, building rapport, which again links in nicely to one of the other capabilities, which I'll touch on later. Another thing that I have done is to try and tailor support to individuals. So some people may need more support in specific areas because they don't feel that they're up to scratch, or they're not as confident, or they've perhaps been to an incident that's affected them emotionally. So in that reason, but the rapport side of things and the communication plays a great part, and I hope that I've improved that through the duration of this course. Emotional intelligence, by thinking differently, by thinking about different perspectives, and the impact that you can have, your behaviours can have on other people, has been quite a big part of my development, I believe. The use of role modelling, which I've always used to an extent in any case, and being a visible leader, setting examples and high standards, I hope to pass on my motivation and motivate others. Relationship building, again with communication, this links in with the NLP course that I did, but I think one of the things that I've learnt to do with the feedback side of things is to set some ground rules at the beginning of a facilitated shift. So basically sitting down, working out each other's expectations for the day, because it's a short amount of time and we're often quite busy as well. So setting out ground rules and what we both expect to get out of the day, which sets a tone for the rest of the shift. And similarly with learning contracts, at the beginning of a placement, that can similarly set the standard or the goals to motivate people, both myself and the student, and discuss those expectations and any then deal with issues as and when they arise. As far as team and people development go, communication skills again. So this links in quite nicely with the NLP course and relationship building. The feedback has been a great aspect of this course, because really historically, other than negative feedback, we don't really get much to go on in order to improve. So by providing quality feedback to my students and staff during their supervised shift, I also ask them to feedback to me to see if there's anything I can do to improve the learning environment or anything like that, in the hope that perhaps we can get some double loop learning on a higher level. So any feedback or insight that I can be given can then help others within the trust. So leadership skills. These, I think, from the feedback and from my own feelings, are the leadership skills that I've either acquired or brushed up upon throughout the duration of the course. So role modelling is personally one of my most important ones, having integrity and the ability to adapt. But the bottom one here, attention to detail, without getting too bogged down in the detail, of course, but with the ability to see the bigger picture, and perhaps with that bigger picture translating complex information and making it more accessible and disseminating it to my team, my peers, members of staff that I'm facilitating shifts for, and of course students. This in turn, hopefully, will have an impact on the trust and help people to move forward and take ownership and feel empowered. So future improvements, I've picked the two that have scored the lowest from the latest appraisals, the latest feedback, which is firstly vision. So I'm going to really address this by exposing myself to a much higher level of leadership opportunity. So by doing some acting up, perhaps as a Halo or an ASO. There's another course, a step up to management, which hopefully may bridge the gap from supervisory role, which I'm in now, to a more senior management role. And also taking a greater involvement really in external stakeholders. So there's alternative pathways group that I could get involved in and then be exposed to a more political arena. Understanding managing context, again increasing my political awareness so that there's no pitfalls that I could fall down whilst networking with on a higher level, and making use of the Thinking Differently initiative that's the government have been championing recently. A couple of papers there, and basically using innovative ideas to rethink things, streamline, and to make things more efficient, and to provide an excellent level of care. So quickly, to evaluate the learning that I've done using Gibbs' reflective cycle, the Certificate of Leadership Capability was actually what I've done. Initially, honestly, I felt very curious and cynical to start with, very much out of my comfort zone, nothing that I've really experienced before. But saying that, I felt very engaged, interested, and challenged, particularly with the academic essays, and but particularly motivated too, because it was something I haven't done before, a new field to investigate and disseminate information down through into my team as well. I'm pretty sure there's been an impact on the team. They've noticed a change in perhaps my attitude towards my work. So really, what I've enjoyed the feedback. I say enjoyed, I mean I've got most out of it. I feel that I've most benefited from that and the introduction of theories and models. And so really the great development opportunity that's been handed to me has lifted my horizon and introduced me to managing change. So I'll be doing some acting up opportunities to further develop, and also look at some time management skills in the Step Up to Management programme, which I hope to take part on. So here's just a few references that have been on the screen whilst I've been talking. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.